Hello, hello. Welcome to Just Jenna. You have no idea how excited I am that you're here. I'll be sharing the wisdom, questions, and curious little truths I've gathered along the way. From brilliant thinkers to weird memes, from ancient texts to the knowing of nature. Some of what I've learned came from books, some from breakdowns, some from simply paying attention, and some from fumbling through it myself. My hope is that these stories expand you the way that they've expanded me. So maybe, just maybe, you don't have to trip over the same parts of life I did. And if you do trip and fall, it's okay. I won't tell anyone. Hi you guys, welcome back to another episode of Just Jenna. We're going to talk about something today that has been on the tip of my tongue for the last year. If you are in my life in any capacity, you know I talk about discernment a lot. I bring up discernment regularly. Discernment has been one of the words for me that has been in the forefront of my brain that I have been contemplating every single day for a year. It has shown up for me within the last year in a way where it's like, this is important for me to learn about. This is important for me to embody. This is something I need to actively figure out for myself. And I'm so excited to talk to you guys about it today for a myriad of reasons. But I want to tell you guys one of the reasons why I want to talk to you guys about discernment. It is because I am craving, I am desiring to cook up an episode for you where I am influencing you to do things, to not do things. I want to tell you about certain things, about my daily habits, my routines, and whatnot that I want to share with you, to offer as a way of like, hey, you should try this too. But before I do such a thing, I want to teach you guys about discernment, because while something has worked for me, it may not work for you. And that is all discernment. Learning how to discern the areas in life that you want to say yes to, the things in life you want to say no to without judgment, okay? So this morning, I woke up at the ass crack of dawn. You know me, or maybe you don't know me, but I wake up at the ass crack of dawn, and I wrote 5 pages of notes about discernment. So I might be looking at my journal regularly throughout this episode because I want to make sure I am so crystal clear. I want to make sure I am so locked in. That way you guys can stay with me, okay? And we're going to talk about discernment today. And I want to talk to you guys. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going off of here. I'm going off of here because this girl at 6 a.m., she knew the route I wanted to take today. Me, right now, it is 11:43. I don't know what route we're going, but I'm going to follow this girl, okay? Okay. Somewhere along the way, I picked up the idea that I had to like and accept everyone. And if I didn't like everyone, then I was bad. I was a bad person. This extends beyond people. But if I didn't like a certain person, or if I didn't like a certain place or a certain type of music or a certain food or a certain idea or whatever, I was bad. It meant I was a bad person if I couldn't accept all these people. Now, there are another category of people that have this belief system that everyone must like them and accept them or they are bad. So I'm talking about 2 things. Little recap. 1, I have to like and accept everything or I am bad. Or everyone must like and accept me or I am bad. Both of these stories you're telling yourselves are a disillusion. It's a disillusion, and I believe they both stem from fear. They both are stemming from a very similar kind of like, a very similar story. Now, I'm reading this word for word because this is a good one. Both I must like everyone and I must be liked by everyone are distorted attempts to avoid rejection, conflict, or discomfort either with others or within yourself. And I believe that these things stem from 3 reasons. First being the fear of being bad or wrong. If I don't like this person, if I say no, if I feel judgment or discomfort, does this mean I am mean? Does this mean I am a bad person? This reflects the fear that you can't trust your own reactions because you were taught that good, quote unquote, good people are agreeable, warm, and accepting always. If you picked up along the way of your life that to be a good person, you must always be agreeable, this is a bunch of BS, okay? Being a good person has nothing to do with like consistently always doing X, Y, and Z. No, rubbish. But regardless, if you did pick up that conditioning along the way, and now you believe that you always have to be good, you always have to either be liked or like, rubbish. Turning the page. Don't worry. I'm going to circle back to all these things, so just stay with me, people. Okay, stay with me. Number 2, fear of rejection equals danger. Whether it is needing to be liked or like everyone, both are survival strategies. If I don't mirror what others want or love who I'm supposed to, I'll be abandoned or unsafe. This is your inner child that picked up along the way that being loved or to love was conditional. Now, everyone picked this up along the way. This doesn't mean you had some big T trauma. It could be little T trauma, but T trauma is trauma, okay? So if you picked it up along the way that somehow liking to be liked or to like is conditional, that's okay. I'm going to say probably the vast majority of people somehow picked that up along the way. It could be from your parents. It could be from your primary caregivers. You could have the best parents in the history of the planet. But guess what? You probably watched a movie. You probably read a book. You probably had a friend. You probably had your first boyfriend, your first girlfriend, your first friend make things somehow conditional for you that kind of just like did something in your brain where you now have a false belief that rejection, either rejection of the self or rejection of the other, is dangerous. And it's not dangerous. Your brain's just telling you it's dangerous. Your brain is just a processing system and it puts things into containers. I will talk about this until the cows come home. Moving right along though. Number 3, lack of trust with yourself. This is where I believe the majority of my false beliefs stemmed from when I first was understanding. Don't worry, we're going to get back to discernment, but this is where it all stems from. This is where I believe a lot of mine stemmed from, this lack of trust with self. If you don't fully trust that your instincts, your intuition, or your gut feelings are valid, you will outsource to others. Other people, other places, other things, you're going to outsource because you don't trust your own inner knowing. Okay? This might sound like, if they like me, I must be okay. If I like them, I must be okay. If I don't feel harmony, something must be wrong with me, not the outside thing. There must be something wrong with me. I'm going to read this one word for word, line for line after I take a sip of my water. Thank you very much. Both are illusions that being endlessly palatable or endlessly accepting will protect you. But in reality, they strip you from your ability to be whole, complex, and sovereign. Sovereign. Okay, people? So let's talk about discernment. My favorite word of the year. My favorite word of the year. I have dedicated this last year of my life to contemplating discernment every single day. Every single day. I want to recommend you do the same. If any of this is landing true, if any of this is feeling a little like maybe you're alone listening to this and you're like, oh my God, Jenna, quiet down. Like, shh, shut up. I would recommend you just start contemplating all of the things I'm talking about today and doing your own outside research and learning and information seeking, okay? I'm going to be talking about my experiences a lot, and my experiences, like I said, do stem from more of the I must like and accept everyone. I didn't really fall into the category of wanting everyone to like and accept me, but if you are in that category, all of these stories, all of the things I'm sharing still align because they both are stemming from the exact same illusion. Following? So even if I'm saying something where you're like, Jenna's in that category and I feel like I'm more in that category, nope, they're stemming from the same thing. But I'm just speaking about my experience because the outcome of what I've experienced will help you. Okay, I am feeling very about it today. Okay, Jenna. I think everyone should dedicate 1 year to contemplating the word discernment. I do. I think everyone should do it because discernment is one of the most important things. I have a lot of things where I'm like, this is the most important thing. Discernment feels like it's one of the most important things. And you'll see why when I continue to digest this for you guys. So to me, now I think this is like an important little thing. My discernment has gotten me to the point of how I discern what discernment is. You follow me? Okay. So again, you got to discern even what I'm saying now. To me, discernment observes and judgment labels. Okay? There's a difference to me between judgment and discernment. I think discernment is so healthy. You should be discerning things regularly, constantly, consciously throughout your entire day for the rest of your life. I'm not saying anything is right or wrong with judgment. I'm just not talking about judgment. I think judgment kind of gives people this like ping feeling. At least it did for me. I was like, I don't want to be judgmental. Oh my God, I don't want to judge anybody. I don't want to do this. However, having that feeling, not knowing even what the word discernment was until a year ago, it put me in situations that I could have been better off without. Granted, everything happens for a reason, but I'm just sharing this experience so maybe you guys can learn through information seeking rather than a bad experience. Okay? But also maybe you need to go into the bad experience. We don't know. That's not for me to decide. Anyways, discernment observes, judgment labels. I'm still reading off my notes here right now, okay? And I need to read this one word for word as well. Discernment is clear, intuitive understanding without the attachment of a story. Emphasis on discernment comes into play without the attachment of a story. I am really big on stories. I believe most things in life are neutral until we attach a story to it, okay? And discernment is the process of non-attachment. It is the process of not attaching a story to whatever it is you're observing, whatever message your intuition is telling you. There's no story attached to it. That is discernment. Neutrality, baby. Judgment, however, is reactive. Judgment is often rooted in fear, criticism, personal bias, and a story. Okay? And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with judgment. I'm just not talking about judgment. We're talking about discernment. Because discernment is healthy. Because we're all just doing our best. Am I still recording? Yes. Okay, cool. I'm going to read again from my notebook. Discernment is the ability to perceive, understand, or assess things clearly and wisely to you, especially subtle truths, patterns, or a deeper essence of a situation. It's where you're like, I see what's going on here without a story attached. Judgment is forming an opinion in a way that labels something as good and bad, right and wrong, worthy or unworthy. We're not doing that here with discernment. But recognizing patterns is intelligent. Assessing a situation is smart for you. Saying yes to something is wise. Saying no is the ultimate intelligence. Like, to be able to be observant, to be able to tune in to these like underlying little energies and frequencies and little things that you're feeling. I don't care if you're woo-woo or if you're some guy. You know what I'm talking about when like you just feel like something's off with a person, place, or thing. Discernment is recognizing and honoring that you're feeling off and getting yourself out of that situation. Judgment is feeling off and being like, they are bad. This situation is bad. This must mean I am bad. This is good. This must whatever. No, there's no stories attached here. It's just hearing the message, observing a pattern, and being like, I'm going to go this way now. That's it. I'm going to continue now. I made a graph or a table, if you will. Like I said, Jenna at the ass crack of dawn, she's got her wits about her, okay? And I trust her. So she made a table, and I'm going to talk about it because it felt important to her. So discernment is rooted in neutrality and inner wisdom. Judgment is rooted in attachment. Discernment feels calm, grounded, and intuitive. Judgment feels critical, reactive, and harsh. The outcome of discernment leads to wise action or loving boundaries. The outcome of judgment leads to shame, guilt, separation, or defensiveness. Discernment sees clearly. Judgment reacts emotionally. Discernment honors complexity. Judgment reduces to labels. Discernment leads to sovereignty. Judgment leads to control. Example of discernment: this situation doesn't feel aligned to me. End of discussion. Like there's a period at the end of that sentiment. Period. It doesn't feel right. Period. Judgment: they're toxic and selfish. It could even, let's play around with this. Like I said, an example of discernment is this situation doesn't feel aligned for me. Period. This is where it gets a little tricky. Judgment could also sound like this situation doesn't feel aligned for me because I'm better than them. They're better than me. This is right. This is wrong. I'm right. They're wrong. This is good. This is bad. This is not worthy. This is worthy. That's where judgment comes in. Judgment is like this semicolon that keeps on going, okay? But discernment is simple. It's a short, simple sentence, period, moving on. And it's not getting caught up in the mumbo jumbo of your brain. You don't need to explain. You don't need to explain to yourself why you feel off. You just need to be like, off, noted, cool, pivot, okay? We are constantly, I'm putting my notebook down because I know where I was going to go with this one. We are constantly being bombarded. In today's day and age, I can't speak for what was going on 20 plus years ago, 40, 50, 60, 100, 200, 500 years ago. Can't speak for it. I can only speak for the here and now, okay? I know that we are constantly being bombarded with advertising, messaging, rules, things, influence. We're in the age of influencers, people. Okay, so everyone is trying to influence you. Everyone is trying to say things. Me, I'm on a microphone doing the thing. I am sharing my own experiences, offering insight, doing the things. This will inherently influence you, okay? It's very important. It's very important to be a person that knows how to discern in today's day and age, because it's going to allow you to get through all of this noise, because you're going to have someone go on a tangent, make their whole entire life and personality, career perhaps, based on the fact that they like to do cold plunges, okay? Because it saved their life. It saved their life. It healed them from hormonal imbalances. They now have a metabolism of whatever. They now can talk to God. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to have the exact same person, you're going to have the exact same outcome, which was this person can now talk to God, healed their hormonal imbalances. They now have an incredible metabolism, all because they reject cold plunges and they only do saunas, okay? Completely opposite experiment, same outcome. But everyone is constantly talking about their experiences in today's day and age. And it's so important for you to recognize that Everyone is trying to get to the same outcome, which is like what? To feel secure, stable, seen, supported, happiness, joy, abundance. That's what everyone wants, right? How you get there, how you get to there is completely individual. It is completely your own path. It is completely up to you. You cannot follow someone else's trajectory. You can find inspiration from people. You can find new ideas from people. But discernment will allow you to be like, yes, this works for me. Yes, this doesn't work for me. Okay? How do you do that? You experiment with it. You got to experiment with things. That's my, I guess, recommendation, my influence now that I'm putting out there, because you're going to have someone that says intermittent fasting is the best. You're going to have someone that says you got to do yoga. Then you're going to have someone that's explaining to you need to do more cardio. Then this is all, again, to achieve those, like, to feel good and abundant and joy and peace and happiness, whatever. You're going to have people telling you about that. Some people are going to say, quit your 9 to 5, become an entrepreneur, work 80 hours a week, work 10 hours a week, use AI, don't use AI. All of these things we're constantly being bombarded with. Do this, do that, do that. Da-da-da-da. What you need to be able to do is to learn how to discern what is right and what is wrong for you. That is going to be the complete difference of living a life that feels sovereign and wise and peaceful and calm, rather than like noise and chaos going everywhere, because everyone is constantly trying to tell you what to do. And it's so annoying to me. It's so annoying, honestly, half the time. This is your life. It is up to you to discern what it is you want to do and what it is you don't want to do. This is the practice of a lifetime. That's why I would honestly say to make, let's say you hear this video and you're picking up what I'm putting down, or you're curious about what I'm talking about. I seriously would recommend contemplating discernment every single day. Like, I give you my definition of discernment. Because I've been working with this word for over a year. And I'm like at a simple definition of like, discernment is observing, judgment is labeling. And also judgment comes into my definition of discernment because I struggled with the word judgment. So maybe judgment doesn't even make sense for you. But start going on Google and Googling, what is the definition of discernment? What does discernment mean? What are things I can do to be more discerning? How do I tune in to my own inner wisdom? How do I trust that? Well, you just have to start doing that. You can even go back to those 3 things that I mentioned. One being like where these things stem from fear of being bad or wrong. Think back in your life and think, where did this come from? Where did it come from that I was a bad person if I wasn't liked? Or where does it come from that I'm a bad person if I don't like something? And just start investigating these stories with yourself, truly. Now, the second one, with the fear of rejection equals danger, where I also explained that maybe somewhere along the way you picked up that love was conditional, whether that was to be loved or to love something. Somewhere, get curious. Where does this stem from? Does this align with me? Does this not align with me? And just get curious about the story. Once you get curious about the story, you can start seeing, it's just a story. Third, lack of trust with yourself. Start building up your trust bone. I talk about this all the time with my friends and family, building up your trust bone. I genuinely believe your life is made up, I believe that your life is made up by your daily habits. And I also believe your life is made up by the decisions that you make. Okay? And so building up your trust bone with yourself to have habits that are aligned with where you want to go in your life, in your present, future life, and making decisions that are aligned with your present, future self. And that is aligning with that subtle energy where like something feels off, something feels good. I want to go trust that, go do that without attaching some crazy story to it. Anyways, let's see okay, I wrote another page. I just flipped. Here we go. Oh, I guess I was still kind of going on and on about how in today's day and age, everyone's going to be telling you to do a million different things. There's a million different ways to achieve some sort of outcome. Okay? Because we are multifaceted, evolved creatures. Okay? I can find happiness. I'm going to achieve potentially the same level of happiness by sleeping in as someone will by waking up early. Does that make sense to everybody? Like, we're all trying to achieve the same thing here, but everyone's going about it in a different way. And since everyone can like buy a microphone, like even me yapping on this thing, since everyone has access to social media and content creation and doing all their thing, everyone is like, this is what I did. This is what I did. And maybe it's going to align for you, but maybe it's not going to. Just remember that everyone is multifaceted, and the way that everyone achieves their goals is going to be completely different from you. And you have to be able to tune into your own inner wisdom, baby, and become sovereign and make choices for yourself that align with who you are. Discernment, observing the patterns you're recognizing within yourself and with the the external environment. Period. How to find what works for you? Experiment. Experiment with everything. Go into everything with complete neutrality. Try to, as best as you can, go into everything. Go into all of these trends and these ideas and these things that are like, you should do this, you should do that, you should do it. If something feels right for you, try it. Go into it with like, this might work, this might not work. What does that work even mean? Who knows? Up to you. But go into it with no story attached. Go into it and notice how you feel. Tune in to yourself. You're worth it. You're worth it. Tune in and be like, how am I feeling right now? Do I like doing this? Yeah? Okay, cool. Then I'm going to do it. And don't attach a story like, oh, now I'm a morning person. Because I heard someone on the internet say that waking up at 5 a.m. is the best thing in the world. So you're like, I want to try it. And let's say you try it and you love it. You love it. You just love it. So you start doing it. Don't get lost in the sauce. And I'm not saying this to be preachy. I'm saying this because yes, me, have been lost in the sauce so many times. Where then, for example, let's say I'm one of those people that I start waking up at 5 a.m. and I'm like, oh, this is the best. This is the best. And now I think I am better than a past version of myself, or I am somehow smarter or wiser than a past version of myself for now doing this. Or I'm smarter and wiser than someone that wakes up at 9 a.m. Like, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I wake up at 5 a.m. Wake up at 5 a.m. Okay, cool. No, don't do that, because guess what? In a week's time, in a month's time, guess what? You're a human being. You're complex. You're multifaceted. You might need to start sleeping in until 9 to make it feel better. Obviously, I know there's like work. This might have been maybe not the best example, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. As soon as you're able to even discern like what a nice routine is for you, be ready for yourself to change and pivot, because cold plunging might work for you now. Saunas might work for you later. You might start cold plunging tomorrow and never stop for the rest of your life. You might do it once and like it, and then that's it. That's all you need to do. You might do it once a week. You might do it. I've never even done a cold plunge. It's just in my head. Okay, it's just in my head. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, everyone is constantly just bombarding with so much information, and it's up for you to just try it. Try it and discern, and do not attach a story to whatever you're feeling. You're not a good person. You're not a bad person. You're not right. You're not wrong for liking something or not liking something. And your best friend, your partner, your neighbor, your stranger isn't better or worse because they do the same or opposite of you. Discernment. Period. We're going to use ChatGPT because I told my assistant is ChatGPT, by the way. I told my assistant today that I'm going to finally be talking about discernment on the pod. And I said, can you come up with some, here we go. Hold on. I'll get there. I said, okay, I'm doing a podcast episode about discernment, and I have everything wrote down that I want to say, but I'm curious if you could give me some contemplative questions to ask my audience at the end to help them with their own discernment journey. That is what I said to ChatGPT. Here are some questions for you to contemplate on. Write these things down. Speak them out loud. Talk about it with a friend. Talk about it with a trusted confidant. Talk about it with your dog. Talk about it, though, seriously. And I would recommend contemplating these things every day, because they're going to change every single day. because you're a multifaceted, complex human being. Ahem. Number 1, where in my life am I pretending to be neutral when I'm actually just afraid to choose? Maybe the word afraid here is a little weird, but where in my life am I pretending to be neutral when actually you do have an opinion? You do have a slide on the scale a little bit. Are you doing that? It's okay if you are. I won't tell anybody. Seriously. What truth have I been sensing but talking myself out of? That's a good one. Also, I didn't read these beforehand. I kind of like doing it this way. Anyways, number 3. Am I seeing this clearly or through the lens of fear, attachment, or needing to be good? That's it. That is a good one, because a lot of times throughout my life, at least, I was doing things through this lens of like being a good person, when in reality, that's not being an honest person. And one of my values that I hold near and dear to my heart, which I think 2 episodes ago, I started talking about values a little bit. Seriously, you guys, pick a couple values and just stick to them. But one of my values is honesty. And I started recognizing that I wasn't even being honest when I was like trying to be good or like everybody. I'm like, that's not even being honest. That's just being like, I don't know. It's dishonest. I was being dishonest, but through the lens of like, I'm being a good person though. But it's not honest. And honesty is more important to me than being perceived as good by myself or by others. Number 4. Where do I feel a quiet no in my body, but my mouth is saying yes? That's good. And the opposite one. Where am I feeling yes in my body, but I am saying no? Ooh, I love that one. I love that one a lot. And when I say body, if that feels confusing to you, where are you privately saying yes, but publicly saying no, or vice versa? Or what are those little whispers, those little wishes that come to you that feel like a fuck yes, but you don't listen to it? Or again, they feel like a fuck no, and you're doing yes. Number 5. What would I choose if I fully trusted myself? Ooh, I love that question. So sweet. Am I trying to convince myself to like something just so I don't have to let it go? Ooh, that's a good question. Am I trying to convince myself to like something? Also, am I trying to convince myself to not like something? And why? See what story is attached to that. Ooh, I love that one. What do I already know but wish I didn't? I don't really see how that one's relevant. Anyways, number 8. Where am I confusing judgment with clarity? And where have I silenced my truth to seem nice or evolved? That is a loaded question. Let's break that one down. Where am I confusing judgment with clarity? Where am I confusing when my intuition is telling me something, is telling me I don't want to be around this person, but my mind comes in and says, nope, that's being judgmental. Nope, we must like and accept them. Does that happen to you? Or the opposite end, because I know that's my personal one. So I'm like, or where you don't even want someone to like you, but your brain is telling you they must like me. Why? Why do they need to like you? And this is not being rude. It's just like, let's get curious. Let's get curious about these stories we tell ourselves for dumb ass reasons. Okay, moving on. Not dumb reasons. Not dumb reasons. Your body and your mind are just trying to protect you. Moving on. Also, I'm moving on with this was like a 2-parter question for number 8. Where have I silenced my truth to seem nice or evolved? That is such a good one. Where have I silenced my truth to seem like a good person? It's all to seem like, not am like, whatever. And again, like the good and bad that to me, that's like the judgment thing of like labeling, putting things in categories. Anyways, number 9, what does neutrality feel like in my body? Can I name it, find it, and return to it? That's a good one. That could be like a whole nother year contemplating that. What does neutrality feel like in my body? I'm just gonna. Number 10, if I honored my inner knowing, even if no one else understood, what would shift? Ooh, I love that one. If I honored my inner knowing, even if no one else understood, what would shift? What a great question. What a great question. Some things to consider while you're contemplating what discernment means for you. Now I want you guys to get ready. I want you guys to get real ready, because my next episode is going to be about what I want to influence you guys on. So get ready, because what I do might work for you. It might not. And I have no idea. But I do really feel like a pull to talk about some things. And I really do want to like not silence my own self for fear of being influential. So I do feel like I was now able to give you guys kind of this groundwork where I'm like, okay, now I can really like, for example, here's a little teaser. My next episode, I know I want to influence people to start writing about their life, writing down their life and whatever. And I don't want to dull that down. I don't want to dull my passion for that down. I want to speak about it with like 100% certainty, because that's how I feel about it. But I want you guys to know about discernment first, because the way that writing works for me may not work for you, but for the people where that message, it needs to hit them, I want to say it with my whole chest. Okay. If any of this is feeling a little confusing still, if you are like, okay, I want to start digging into this, I also would recommend, if you haven't already, looked into detachment. The law of detachment. There are so many people online that have wrote books, people have podcasts, people have dedicated their entire lives to studying detachment. I would recommend looking into detachment, because I feel like discernment and detachment really marry well with one another. Like learning about discernment and learning about detachment are very complementary towards one another. The more you learn about detachment, the more discernment makes sense. The more you learn about discernment, the more detachment makes sense. The more you feel safe and comfortable and trustworthy moving forward. There's also there's science. There's science behind this. There's studies behind this. There's a boatload of books. There's so many people that, like I said, have dedicated their entire lives to just talking about detachment. And it is so worth you also exploring as well. Because, like I said, in my opinion, through my discernment really comes into play when you're able to observe and kind of sense what's going on around you without creating a story. And detachment tells you how to move through life without having this story or this anticipated outcome or this thing you're hoping or expecting. I feel like attachment and judgment are like this. They're like making out in the back corner. And then you have detachment and discernment that are like making out in a different room. Do you know what I mean? So attachment and judgment are over here. Detachment and discernment are over here. And I would recommend really looking into that, especially people that have, like, if you don't even understand what I'm saying about now, like look into your like attachment style: secure, avoidant, anxious. I'm like, don't put yourself in like this like crazy box, but I'm like, just get curious about it, okay? Get curious about it, okay? Get curious about it, okay? Okay, you guys, I feel like I'm done. I feel like I said what I needed to say. I'm really just thrilled, because the more you learn about this, the more you could become sovereign in your own being. And that's the whole point to me, is walking my own path. And that's exactly what I want to encourage other people to do, is to walk on their own path. No one else knows what your path should or shouldn't be besides you. It's all up to you. It is all up to you. And developing that trust bone, looking into the stories you're telling yourself and detaching from other people, other places, and things in terms of like validating your own self-worth and making choices. It's the sweet spot, girl. It's a sweet spot, girl. So anyways, I hope you guys liked today's episode, because I know this. I hope this episode was good, right? You know, it was just like one of those things. I just really felt like I needed to do this episode before I can really like step into some of the things that I really want to talk about. Because yeah, I don't want anyone to just like listen to me just cause. I'm like, no way, Jose. Listen to me if it feels right, girl. And then change your mind. And I'm going to change my mind. I guarantee in a year or two, I'm going to be like, I thought I knew about discernment then. Get a load of me now. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, just remember, you're a little human being, and we're all just a little human being. And that's pretty much all I got. So contemplate discernment and what it means for you. And I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful, spectacular life. Genuinely. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay. Bye.